Hi, I'm Marshall, and this is the Media One computer, and I'm going to show you what this all encompasses and what this does. So the Media One position sits right here, and they are in charge of worship lyrics and Bible verses, really anything that goes on the side screens in the services. First off, when you first sit down, the computer should be logged into the main screen, but if it's not, let me show you how you would log in. This would be the screen that you would see. And you would click Media One, and the password is techarts, TECHARTS, all lowercase. So the first thing you're going to do after you've logged in is click the ProPresenter icon down here in the corner. It says Pro. You're going to click that. When you first open up, this information center screen is going to pop up. You're just going to hit the close button up here in the top left corner to get rid of that. Now you're in ProPresenter. Let me show you the layout of where everything you'll need for ProPresenter will be at. We're going to start on the left side. You'll see in the top left corner is a preview window. This is going to show you exactly what's going to show on the side screens live in the room. Next thing, if you go straight down, you'll see the library. This library is all the lists of messages and songs and any specials we've done are all right here. So when we're creating a service layout for the weekend, this is where we'll go to past songs that we've done before, and we'll drag them into the service instead of having to recreate the whole songs again from scratch. Then if you go down again, you'll see playlist. This is kind of like the documents folder where all of the songs and the verses and the messages all live in. And this is what you'll click on to go to each weekend, and then next to it will be each of the documents that you've dragged in from above into here. So you'll have things like worship songs, you'll have the handshake and the welcome, and Patrick's message and those kinds of things. The next thing is you'll see all your slides. So depending on what you've clicked over here, like we have Your Love Never Fails selected, and so it is showing us the entire Your Love Never Fails song right here. And if we were to click on the welcome, you'll see that it all changes and it turns into the slides that we'd use for the welcome. Whatever the welcome pastor is talking about that weekend, that's what will be in here for us, so we can have a visual aid for the congregation. Now I'm going to show you how to determine the pacing and the timing to click through a worship song. We're going to use Your Love Never Fails. And when you first open up any worship song, you'll see that there is a background. The first thing you're going to do when starting a new song is you're going to click that background. And that background is going to stay up for the rest of the song. And so we're going to use this one here. From there, you will put up the next slide when they start the final line of each slide. So, for example, this slide is Nothing Can Separate, Even If I Ran Away, Your Love Never Fails. So as soon as they finish that line, Even If I Ran Away, and they start singing Your Love Never Fails, as soon as they start to say your, that last line, that's going to be your cue to go to the next slide. And you do that by hitting the space bar, or you can do it by clicking the slide manually with the mouse. So there's two different ways to do it. Let me show you how to add a verse or a chorus. So we're in Your Love Never Fails. The first thing you're going to do is up here in the top right corner, you're going to see this little box right here that has a whole bunch of little tiny boxes in it. You're going to click that, and it's going to bring down kind of this whole bank of things. Each of these slides is in a group, and so if you want to add another chorus to the end of the song, you'll see all these grayed out boxes up here are all a bank. Those are all kind of all the different elements that we have, and the blue is the actual sequence of what they're actually in. So you kind of pull from the gray if you need to add something. Like a chorus, you'd pull from the gray to add it. So I'm going to take the chorus, and I'm going to add a chorus to the end, and you'll see the yellow line there is kind of your visual aid on how, on where it's going to go into the song. So I'm dragging it, I'm going to let go of it, and as you can see down here, it added a second chorus to the end of the song. If I wanted to delete that chorus, or if they're not doing as many choruses, If you hover over any one of these blue boxes, you'll see that an X appears right next to it. This is how you delete. So you go over to the X and you click the X, and that would delete that chorus or that verse from right there. That's how you would change a song if they were to add lyrics to the slides. And then all you're going to do is click that same box in the top right corner again, and that hides it. Whenever you change something in a song, you'll notice that here in the left corner, that song gets kind of an orange. Instead of being a white box, it becomes an orange box. That means it's unsaved. So if you were to quit ProPresenter, it would not save that, and your changes would be lost. And so, anytime that you make changes to a song or to the message or to the welcome, really, if you make changes to any slide, what you want to do is hit Command and S, and that's for Save All. That saves your document that you have changed. And so if you were to exit out of ProPresenter, or if ProPresenter were to quit unexpectedly, then your changes will have already been saved. You can't hit save enough. Next, I'm going to show you how to create a document like a worship song or a message from scratch. So what you're going to do first is in the bottom left corner, you're going to click this gear box, and it's going to bring up this menu. You're going to click New Document. And once you click New Document, this box is going to pop up here at the top, and you're going to put in your file name. If it's a song, then you're going to put in the full name of the song, or whatever it is you're doing. You're going to put that in. So we're going to put in tutorial, and then you're going to make sure it's on presentation. The category is presentation, and the size is 1920 by 1080. Nothing else needs to be changed, and you're going to hit new. And what that's going to do is automatically going to bring up your brand new document. The next thing you're going to want to do is right click on this slide and hit Edit Slide. That's going to bring you into the editing mode. From here, you're going to follow along with your song that you have. You'll have the lyrics, and you're going to follow along with that song and put that song in here. So I'm just going to put in here Tutorial by Marshall. And so whatever your lyrics are, that's what you'll put in here. You'll never go more than 4 lines. And the first word of every line is always capitalized. Your font should always be on Gil Sans. And for worship songs, your font size should be 100. And all the other numbers below it should be at 0. So outline should be 0, tracking should be 0, and leading should be 0. If it's a Bible verse, then the font size should be at 75. To add a slide, down here in the bottom, you'll see a plus sign. You're going to click that plus sign, and it's going to add another slide. You can click that as many times as you want to make as many slides as you need. Next, I'm going to show you how a lower third and green screen works with the service. So a lower third is a title bar that you'd put up that would show someone's title, like Patrick Kelly, Senior Pastor. The way that works is that you'll see here very plainly that this is a lower third because it has the green behind it. Now what that green signifies is that our tech director, who sits right next to you, has the capabilities to take that green and replace that green with a live camera shot. So it'll look like a lower third right below the person, and it'll say their title, and you'll leave it up there for about 10 seconds. When you have a green screen, do not put that on the screen immediately, because if the safe slide is up there or something from Media 1 is up on the screen already, and you click the green screen without the technical director knowing, it's going to look exactly like this. You're not going to see a live feed at all because the technical director hasn't switched it over to capture that live feed with the lower third. Now, when you have a green screen, instead of clicking straight to it, what you would do instead is tell the technical director on your microphone that you'll be wearing, hey, I have a lower third. and then they'll tell you when to put it up. And then you will click on it, and then you'll leave it up there for some time. The technical director will tell you then, all right, lower third is taken down, and you'll see that it's taken down on the screens, and that's when you'll go to whatever your next slide is. Sometimes a parent needs to be paged to go get their child from their room. So the way that we would do that is that each parent has an identification number on a tag, and we signify them by this slide right here. So what you're going to do is that a director will come in, and they will tell you what the ID tag is and where the parent needs to go, and you will right click on edit slide, and you will click edit slide, and from here you will double click on this to open up the text box, and you will change it to whatever the ID number is. So if it's ABC1, and they're going to the early childhood building, you'll put in ECB for early childhood building. Or if they're going to the big tent, you will say to big tent, and the parents know what that means. And so from there, up in the top left corner, there's this big X that closes out of the editor mode. You're going to hit that, and then you'll put this up on the screen, and the technical director will put it up and the technical director will take that green and put that onto the live feed. Next, I'm going to talk about the relationship between the Media 1 operator and the technical director, who sits right next to you. So one thing that is very important is the safe slide. You're going to hear that terminology a lot, safe slide. What that means is it is a safe slide. It usually has the RPC logo on it. Sometimes it says welcome to RPC, something like that, that you can put on the screens that the technical director can jump to when he doesn't have a good camera shot. So that could be different times of the service, and we've tried to strategically place them into the service when we think you would need them the most. So this is an example of a safe slide, and when you have a safe slide, you'll hear the technical director say, give me a safe slide, and you could say, I got it, or you can put it up on the screen and just communicate that it's up there and ready so that he knows he can click to it and be secure knowing that it's up there. It's very important that you have the right graphic up on the screen for the congregation when we're doing announcements during the welcome. This is so that they can have a visual illustration of what we're talking about. So the technical director will have a live feed of the welcome pastor. Your job is to have whatever the next graphic is that they're going to be talking about, that you have that ready for the technical director to jump to. And so you'll tell the technical director the welcome card is ready. And then you will click on the welcome card or whatever the next slide is. You can tell them the welcome card is ready. And so it's ready, it's waiting there in your preview. And the technical director can have that to jump to whenever he's ready for the welcome card to go up on the screen. Once the welcome card is up there, you hear the technical director say, all right, we're back to camera 1, or we're back to live feed or something like that. And that's your cue to know that your shot's gone and you can go to the next graphic. So if they're talking about wife carrying next, you can click on the wife carrying slide and be ready for when the technical director jumps to you. This is all just in preparation so that we're not changing slides in the middle of it being up there. We want it to be the slide that they're talking about at that exact moment. The relationship between a technical director and the Media 1 person is very important during the message as well. You'll see here that there are also lower thirds and green screens when talking about the message. That's going to work the same way. You're going to want to notify the technical director that you have a lower third, and they're going to get it ready, and then they will tell you and notify you when to put up the lower third. The next thing you're going to see are the notes and Bible verses and pictures for Patrick's message, or whoever is speaking that weekend. Whatever the next element is of his talk, that's what needs to be on the screen. So if it's a map, if Patrick or the person speaking is going to use a map or some sort of picture, you're going to put that slide up on the screen, and it's the technical director's job to put the Media 1 on the side screens when it's time for that map. The technical director will then tell you, okay, Media 1 is clear, and that's your cue to go to whatever the next thing is. If it's a Bible verse, then you go and you get the first slide of the Bible verse ready just by clicking on it. Once Patrick starts talking about that Bible verse, the technical director will put the Bible verse up on the screen, and it's your job to follow along and get ready to go to the next slide of that Bible verse if it goes to multiple slides. So in this slide, you'll see it says, "I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea, and four great beasts came up out of the sea, different from one another. It had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth, and it was told." So you see how when I went from the second slide, as soon as Patrick or the person speaking starts saying the next words on that next slide, that's when I click on it. It's different from a worship lyric, because sometimes they won't go on to the next slide, and sometimes they'll stop, and so we wait for them to move on before we go to the next slide of the Bible verse. And you'll just keep going along with this Bible verse, clicking along. Sometimes it's multiple slides, sometimes it's just one slide. You're just going to have to keep an eye out for the reference. It's also labeled down here on the bottom of each slide what that verse is. And you'll go until you see a reference, and that's your point to stop. As you see here, the reference is here is Daniel 7:1-8. That's your cue that that's the end of the verse. It's usually a good idea to let your director know how many slides a Bible verse can be. Once that's over, the technical director will take Media 1 up clear, and they'll put it back to the speaker on stage live. And that's your cue, once they tell you that you're clear, to go to the next slide again. Whether that's a picture or a Bible verse, that's what you'll do. And you'll keep it up there until the technical director puts it up on the screen, and the speaker reads it, and then they take it down. And you'll go through that same process over and over again till you reach the end of the message. As the Media 1 operator, you are also in charge of rolling any videos that we have in the service. The way you'll do that is that you'll notice that something is a video by this timer down here in the bottom left corner. It'll have the time of that video, and that's how you know it's a video. So all you'll do to play the video is click it just like you would any other slide, and the video will play. When working with videos, you're going to get 2 different commands from your technical director on playing a video. The first one is stand by for video. What this means is that you should go to wherever the video is going to play, and you should be ready to click on it at any time. That means taking your mouse and hovering over it. Do not click on the video. The stand by means get ready to play it, but do not play the video yet. The next command you'll hear is roll video. This is your cue to select the video by clicking on it and actually playing the video. You also want to give your technical director some timing signals when it's 30 seconds out and 15 seconds, 10, and then from 10 you're going to count all the way down to 0. Sometimes there's an issue of audio not being able to be heard in the worship center. The way that you fix that is through a couple different things that you need to check. First, you need to check the volume on the computer, and it's used with the 3 volumes right here. There's a mute, a volume to decrease, and then a button to increase. So all you're going to do is you're going to hit the increase button and make sure that the volume on the screen is at full. If that does not fix the problem, the next thing you're going to do is check that the audio plug in the back of the computer is plugged in. The audio plug on the back of the computer is located on the right side. So if it is unplugged, the audio cable looks just like this, is gray and black. You're going to take it, and on the far right end, you're going to see a headphones symbol, and that's your plug to plug in the audio. Just like that. Those are the 2 most common issues if the audio is not working. If it is still not working, there's one more option. Check the ProPresenter volume. It is in the top right corner. You're going to click the volume and make sure that the bar is all the way at the very top. That means that the volume is 100%. So if you need to add a graphic, or you need to add a picture or something like that to a welcome or to any other part of the service, you're going to click on the Finder icon you find in the bottom left corner of the menu bar. You're going to click that. You're going to go to the corresponding year. So I'm in 2014, so I'm going to click 2014. And you're going to go to the corresponding weekend date. So for me, it would be July 12th and 13th. I'm going to click that. And in here will be any graphics that you need for the weekend. So if that's a welcome slide or an announcement slide, or if that's a video to play before the message, it'll be in here. So we're going to use this baptism graphic as an example. So if I needed this baptism graphic in our welcome slide, first you're going to have your welcome document selected, which I do right here. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your baptism graphic and you're just going to drag it into ProPresenter. And you're going to see there's a couple different responses that ProPresenter gives you. The first one is this green highlight over this slide. That means that it's going to replace that graphic with this baptism graphic. If I were to drag it to the left of it or to the right of it, you're going to see this gray bar appears. That's signifying that it's going to put that baptism graphic in between those two slides. So I'm going to put it in between. I'm going to let go. And you'll see that it put it in right between those two slides. And all you can do is exit out of the Finder window and reselect your ProPresenter window to make it active again. And you're back to ProPresenter. This is your headset. This allows you to be able to communicate with the assistant director who runs the whole service and the technical director sitting right next to you. This makes it easy for you to hear all of them. You're going to take the volume on channel A and you're going to turn it up to whatever is your liking. And then you'll put on the headset and you'll be able to listen to all the commands you're going to need for the whole service. One thing that we like to have is a running slideshow of different events, different graphics to keep the people informed for pre-service and post-service. Make sure you go to pre-service right here, before and after each service on the weekend. And once that is clicked, you go up here and you'll click the first slide. And that starts the timer and that starts the process through the entire list of graphics that we have. The way that you put a timer on a graphic for a slideshow is by right-clicking and going to the Go to Next timer. This means go to next slide, and there's going to be the timer to tell the software when to go to the next slide. So you'll click Go to Next timer, and it's going to bring up this window. It's going to ask how many seconds do you want, and this means how many seconds will a slide stay on the screen before it automatically goes to the next slide. And we always do 10 seconds. So you're going to click 1, 0, and press OK. Now, if this were the last slide in the loop, you're going to want it to loop back to the first slide. And so you're going to go to next timer again, and you're going to click loop to first slide. It's a little checkbox here. You're going to check that and press OK. You're going to see that it automatically comes up with this extra icon right here. That means loop back to next slide. If you're ever unsure of what's coming up next, then there are also these papers right outside the door when you come in that have the entire rundown of the entire service, along with a packet stapled to them of all the lyrics to each of the songs. So there's kind of a backup plan and a reassurance for you. Patrick's message is also in here so that you know exactly what verse is supposed to come up next and where he's at in the service, so that you know when the next verse is going to happen. This is the door to the production room where Media 1 is at. And right here on the wall right next to it, you'll see that this is where the lyrics and Patrick's message, all of it that you'll need for the service is right here as you come in. Feel free to take a copy and bring it to the computer so that you'll be ready for the service.